They got to know you can change their life. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it on Fridays, and I'm going to call it Free Game Fridays, because I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm going to give them so much game
Right.
to where there's no catch to it.
You can't outgive God.
Come on.
You know
Come
what I'm
on. You
saying?
give me another gem. Preach.
You can't outgive God, and I learned that because a lot of times, especially in our community, and then we talking to our people, right?
Right.
All right. So let me talk real to our people for just a moment.
Let's go.
A lot of times we haven't been taught to invest in ourselves, and we lack the value of experience and education. We think that when somebody tells us, like you say, I charge $5,000 to put everything together, right? But that $5,000 can change the trajectory of not only their life, but their children's life and their children's children
Yes.
from just that. But oftentimes we think that, like, man, I ain't paying him no $5,000. Like, they giving it to you.
Yeah.
Not realizing they giving it to themselves.
All right, guys. Peace and love, family. It's another episode of Free Game Fridays, the podcast edition. And y'all already know that every time I have somebody grace this couch, it is somebody of a high volition, okay? We definitely want to have these great, potent conversations. And we have, for another episode, we are blessed with Dr. Michelle Lilly. I appreciate you coming on yet again, talking to my people.
In the building.
Free Game Friday.
Free Game Friday in the building. But why? Let me give myself the right introduction. You know, he Dr. Michelle Lilly here and this, that, and the other. But I am success magnet, money magnet, billionaire in the making, millionaire maker, global leader, phenomenal woman extraordinaire. Michelle Lilly is in the building. I'm in Free Game Friday. What it do?
Yes, go. And it's International Women's Month.
Oh, man.
So I had to have you on during that month, you know? Yeah. Thank you so much for that warm introduction of yourself. So, you know, we talk about a lot. And so what I want to do, and my audience knows this, I want to open up the conversations that I have on a daily basis with my audience. And so we talk about so many different things day in, day out. So Dr. Lilly, she'll call me. I call her Michelle. Michelle will call me. And she'll be like, great day, great day. It's a great day to make $1 million, or it's a great day to make this or do that. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be all for it. I'm like, yeah, what's up? What it do? And we just have these phenomenal conversations for 30, 40 minutes. And I preach the same thing that you preach. And so we're very adamant about this thing. But we're going to call this episode, guys, is BYOB.
Yes.
Be your own bank. And so I talk about this in my course, the Passive Income Manuscript. I talk about how you have to become your own bank. And when I talk about that, I'm not saying replace all the money that's in your bank with yourself, but what I am saying is create your own banking system.
Right.
And so I want to get right into it, Dr. Lilly. Let's talk about, you know, you the crypto queen, you get it done. You know, you got a master's degree, the only African-American female in the world with a master's degree in the blockchain and digital currency. So let's start there. Let's talk about a merger between crypto and creating your own banking system. And I'm gonna start you off where we left off on our conversation one morning when we were talking about this, if you remember. And we were talking about how the fractal bank system is designed to where whenever you put some money in the bank has the authority immediately, because you agree when you agree to the terms to open that account. So they can take 10 times as much as your money and they could invest it on your behalf, and they don't have to give you back any money, any dime. But where I want you to start at is how these same banks and other institutions that are alike are actually investing in cryptocurrency with your US dollar. And then obviously coin all that together,
right,
and how we can do it ourselves.
Okay, awesome. So let me just drop some background on, because a lot of people may have been like I was at one time. I didn't understand the banking system. And it wasn't until I had to take a class in my master's program called International Finance and Banking that I learned about what you just talked about, where the bank can actually, so if you put $1,000 in the bank, they can now lend 10 times that money, charge interest, okay,
On that money.
on that money that they're lending,
Which is your money to begin with.
which is thin air, from thin air. Like let's talk about that. You put 1,000, but the other 9,000 don't exist.
Wow.
It's just paper money. It's just a ledger balance. That's number one. Number two is, I'm gonna take it to what you talk about on some of your free game Fridays, which is business funding, because the banks also get borrowed money from the Treasury, from the Feds. So now they got your money that they didn't made loans out in thin air on, and now they have borrowed money from the Treasury. So no different than you tell people to go get business funding, which is borrowed money. So you the bank, you didn't just borrow from the Treasury, which is the bank, from the Feds. And now you go and put your investments based on that money, right? So I had to say that because I just wanted people to really understand what that really looks like. But the other thing, and why actually cryptocurrency was created, is so that you can be your own bank. See, there's no other money that right now, if you want to send some money to another country, you want to send some money to somebody else or wire a large amount of money, and now you can't even drop $100 cash in somebody else's account, that don't even exist anymore, unless it's a business account. I can't just go put cash in your personal account anymore. So without everything being documented. Well, the thing about cryptocurrency is that, not only can you have a digital wallet, you can send it anywhere in the world, and you don't have to get the bank's permission.
Right. Which is a problem for them. That's a problem. That's a problem.
That's a huge problem. And so cryptocurrency then allows you to be your own bank, because what I think that people miss is that cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin, let's talk about that, is an asset. And so just like you can accumulate real estate and borrow against the equity, you can do the same thing with cryptocurrency. So you can buy Bitcoin. So say, for instance, you bought $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. You can now borrow against that Bitcoin. But you don't have to go through any credit checks.
Come on.
You don't have to get anybody. You don't have to get an appraisal on the property to see whether it's really worth it or not, because the price of Bitcoin is going to tell you that. And it can be instant. You can actually put your Bitcoin up, borrow against it, and it be in your bank account the next day.
Yeah, because look, we're gonna keep it a buck. Let's keep it real. How in the fuck can a bank take your money, lend on your money, make up an imaginary amount for inflating your money? You come in to ask for your money,
right?
And they want to see your credit. They want to see your credit score. They want to know about the deal.
Right.
They want to perform an assessment, a financial assessment on you to figure out the ability of repayment of the loan, when it was your money in the first place.
Oh, it's legalized theft.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
Legalized
theft.
It's the biggest Ponzi scheme going, and so many of us have bought into it.
Yeah.
And anything that's not that is a scam to us.
Right. It seems fun. Now, I don't want to do that.
That's the biggest scam going, though.
Well, and that's why I always say, if you're making money the same way your grandparents made money, you're making money the wrong way. So your grandparent will tell you, boy, you better put that money in the bank and leave that shit alone. And that's the wrong thing to do.
Right.
Obviously. And so let's dive a little bit deeper.
Okay.
So if I'm listening to this podcast and I'm like, man, I want to create my own banking system. But I don't have a lot of money for a bank. I mean, I may have, $10,000 to my name. I want to take out. I'll risk $1,500, and really it's not a risk, but that's just how they talk.
Right.
I'll take $1,500 out of the bank. How would you create your own banking system with $1,500, given the bull run that we're in right now?
So I would invest that $1,500 in some altcoins that I think that have the potential to 10x, 20x, 30x, 40x, 50x this bull run during this cycle, and then I would take profit from that. And I would take profit from that. When I took my profit, I would purchase Bitcoin, and I would use Bitcoin as my collateral.
Woo. The formula.
And
Go
I would
ahead.
then take Bitcoin. So say for instance, off that 1,500, I 10x my money and I made 15,000.
Right.
And so
So that's the
now,
first 10x.
so that's
Turning
the first
1,500 to 15,000.
1,500 to 15,000.
Okay.
That's the first 10x. And so I made my money on there.
In how long?
And I mean, with the way that this bull cycle is going right now, nobody has the crystal ball. And so I want to say this is not financial advice. I got to disclose that.
Yeah.
But it can happen in 3 months. It can happen in 6 months. It can happen in the next month. We've seen,
Okay. So I'm going to say 6 months.
6
So we
months
want to
say-
be very conservative.
Right. So
you 10x $1,500, you turn it to 15,000 in 6 months. And then
Right.
the next play is to.
And then I take it and I say, you know what? Let me do this. Let me go and I'm going to take this 15,000. I'm going to buy me some Bitcoin with it because I know Bitcoin is the safest asset in that asset class, right? It's the granddaddy, and we talked about that on another episode. And so when you think about that, now I'm going to borrow, say I want to borrow 70% of that, right? So just say I'm gonna borrow $10,000 off of that. So I'm gonna put up 15,000, and just like with a house, you can't get all 100% on
Exactly.
it. You got to get 80 to 70% out. Same thing with Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin drops some, you want to make sure that you don't lose it because you can't get liquidated. We'll talk about that. That's an advanced strategy though.
Okay.
But
that's in the course.
yeah, right. That's in the course. And so when you think about that though, and you borrow 10,000 against it, and so now you got 10,000 cash that you can now go invest and do something else.
And not to cut your wisdom, just to pause your wisdom real quick. That's what the banks do.
Exactly.
But you're doing it more. You're doing it ethical and legally, because at the end of the day, what you just said here was you're going to leverage the money. You didn't say you're going to take the money out. You said borrow against it. And so, first of all, because you're because you're Dr. Lilly, you be saying some bomb ass stuff, and then you would just then you just keep on. Yeah, and it's like no, stop right there. This is a moment right here.
Gotcha.
Because I know how my audience is thinking. Yeah, we have some advanced people, but then we got some newbies.
Sure, and we all started new. So to
Yeah.
your newbies, cheers that you even listening to this right now.
Yeah.
You know?
So basically, what you're saying is, okay, I'm gonna do a recap. $1,500 out of $10,000 you may have in a savings account
Right.
or 401k, wherever. You pull $1,500 out, you 10x that within 6 months or shorter.
Right.
So that turned to 15.
Uh-huh.
You borrowed 10 grand of the 15. You didn't take it out.
Right. And Bitcoin, guess what? Remember in another episode, if Fidelity is expecting Bitcoin to be worth $1 million by 2030.
So you just bought an asset.
So you're not losing the value of your asset, and your asset is still appreciating.
Come on.
That's paying off what you borrowed against.
Come on. Opposed to, we're gonna pause real quick and say, opposed to if it was 15,000 in the bank. If it were 15,000 in the bank, for some reason you invested 1,500 in the business or whatever, and they gave you 15,000. It probably take about 2 years to do that, but you did $15,000 in the bank. You put that money in the bank and you try to go borrow some money against that, then they're gonna put a lien on the 10 grand. So that 10 grand is no longer yours. Versus when the strategy that you're giving to people is that the 15 grand still is being traded to make more money.
Right, because Bitcoin, as it rises, you're not losing your Bitcoin.
Yeah. You're not withdrawing.
Correct.
Let's use the word withdraw because they used to banking. So you're not withdrawing the 10 grand. You're saying, I've got a $15,000 asset.
Correct.
That is projected to be to 100x in a year and a half, 2 years. And so I want to borrow only 10 grand on that.
Right.
And so the institutions that would allow that, they understand crypto and they're saying, hell yeah.
Right.
So you mean tell me you got $10,000 inside of this $15,000 in case we had to take it from you?
Exactly.
And this $15,000 will be worth $16,000 tomorrow, $18,000 next week.
Right.
Eventually $100,000. Oh yeah, that's instant.
Yes.
I did that actually with an insurance product.
Same thing.
Yeah. So my banking system that I created was through insurance.
Right.
And that's just putting up money for my death benefit, which is a whole life policy, by the way. But death benefit, yes. And so that right there I was like, oh, this is a bank. They didn't ask for social security numbers. They didn't ask for my job history. They didn't ask for my W-2s or anything like that. They didn't ask for any other thing. An appraisal. What I wanted it for, nothing. They just said, this is what you have. We want to know if it's really you by asking you a couple of questions.
Right.
And now we want to know how you plan on repaying yourself back. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna let my policy pay myself back. But go ahead.
So let me transfer that into the crypto world,
Yes.
and let me tell you what I did and what I'm about to do.
Okay.
Okay. So I had invested $10,000 into a coin called Cardano, ADA. For those of you all that want to go get you some Cardano.
On the screen.
And so at the time, that 10,000 had turned to well over $100,000 within 6 months.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow. Look, you just 10x your money.
I didn't 10x. So just
that's what the name of the other episode was. Y'all go back if y'all hadn't watched the other episode. Go back to the first episode that Dr. Lilly came on the show, and we talked about how to 10x your money in the bull run. But go ahead, she 10x and everything.
So
you
that
don't 10x men, do you?
No. But I will upgrade them. So you know what I'm saying? That we'll talk about that in another in another episode. But it was over 100,000. So I was able to. I didn't even have to ask. Nobody even asked me any questions. I went to a platform. With
no operator.
No operator.
Okay.
Okay. With my hardware wallet. My money ain't even online. It's pulled offline.
Wow. So hold on. When you say hardware, you talking about like an external hard drive?
I'm talking like an external hard drive.
I remember. See, I wasn't investing in crypto back then, but I remember those days when you had to keep you had to keep it because it can get stolen.
Right. Well, today is the same day too. You want to make sure that's
that
an
you
advance that you extract it offline, and don't just always keep it on the exchanges. You keep a small amount on exchanges and in wallets, but most of it you pull offline.
I'm not gonna lie, it's no cap. Like we keep everything 100 over here. My crypto money hadn't grown to the point where yours is. Where I even knew that. So thank you for dropping that on me.
Yeah, you want to pull it offline.
Okay.
And the thing about it is I tell people this too. You don't have to worry, even if you lose the device, it doesn't matter as long as you have these 12 words, which is your
I have my
private
phrase.
keys.
Yeah.
Then you can put it in another device.
So let me break that down because I have to break down some of the stuff you say because you so fluently speak it.
Okay.
So what she said about the paraphrase is I can like I said I got a little money in crypto. Not millions, like her, but got a little something. But that paraphrase is like an account number. Just like you wouldn't let everybody know your account number.
Right.
So you can always identify, no matter where you are, you can identify your money without money in your pocket.
Correct.
By knowing your paraphrase.
Right.
And it's 12 unique words.
Correct.
That are random as hell.
Exactly.
That nobody could ever guess. That's another thing, random.
Right.
So a password somebody could guess if they've got 3,500 attempts. But random words that don't associate with one another and that are not all the same language. Like, come on, because my paraphrase is a hell of a paraphrase. I don't remember it at all.
And no, you write it down and you put it in two separate places. You keep it one in your house and one you give it to somebody else in case it's a fire or something at your house.
Okay, or when you die.
Or when you die. You want to make sure that.
You want your surviving person to have it.
So I didn't have to verify who I am or anything. All I had to do was connect my wallet. And all I had to do was then supply my Cardano. So I supplied it, right? So I'm getting an interest rate I'm getting interest back for supplying it. Mm-hmm. And then I turned around and borrowed 70% against it.
Wow.
So now I took that 70, so I put up 100,000. I borrowed 70,000, and now I took that other 70,000 in the middle of the bull run and went and bought more coins with it. While my Cardano is going up, and how you talked about it paid itself back. So when it went up again, it paid that loan back that I borrowed against myself
for the 70K.
And I took the 70K and went and purchased other tokens.
Come on, now that was 10X. A play. That 10X. That 10X. Say that again, because I might have cut you off. Yes.
You see what I'm... So when you literally...
So hold on. We got to make it plain. That one strategy. So first of all, guys, what she just dropped was a strategy that she did goes right in line with BYOB.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Building your own banking system. Be your own bank. So how much money was that? I didn't probably count it by $500,000 to $700,000, but how much money do you think that is?
Yeah,
that you did. That one strategy gave you How much?
Right. That was that. Little, yeah, that was some, yeah, good.
Which one? 500, 700, something like.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. That part. That part. So something like
part.
that. Yeah, and so that formula. That's what I'm talking about. Free game Fridays.
Yes.
Dropping gems. Now we already know in order to make this happen, you have to get training. You have to,
Sure.
we do have a course that we collaborated on. That's why we ran these shirts, collaboration over competition.
All day long.
Yeah.
All day long.
I do real estate and teach passive income through real estate
Right.
for those who
I want to know
know
your
me.
strategies.
Yeah.
I want my audience to know your strategies. I want my students to understand your strategies. Because once you make money in crypto, so as you know, I certify real estate professionals as well when it comes to cryptocurrency. And
She said she'd be 100x her men. I think you said that. But anyway, go ahead.
whatever. So the reason that how I even got into that is because a developer in Miami had invited me down because they was having a lot of cryptocurrency investors who had made a lot of money in the last bull run. They were buying condos. So they take the profit and they go buy real world assets. Okay, so you take your digital profits and you go buy a real world asset like some real estate, and we got to have a podcast just on this game right here for real estate. But then you go buy that land, or you go buy that other business, or whatever it is that you want from the profits from this.
Yeah.
And so now you have, so think about it from just a real estate perspective. You say I would have borrowed that 70,000, and I said I'm gonna take this 70,000 and I'm gonna go buy me a little dilapidated house or something for 70,000 cash. Now I can take that. Now I own a property cash that I can still borrow against that too if I wanted to.
And again, guys, this is the same thing that the banks do. When you explained earlier how they will take $1,000 and now they have the lending power of 10 because they have that $1,000 for you. That's the same, and then borrow against that.
Right.
So let's say that in the banking world, guys, let's say that somebody it's a small bank and they only have 5. We're gonna keep it real simple. They only have 5 account holders, and all 5 account holders gave them $1,000 in deposits. It wasn't even in the savings; it was in a deposit, and they deposited and needed to withdraw it 2 days later. They need to pay a bill for $300. But that one day they put that in the market, in that bank. The bank then invested 10 times as much. So they have $50,000 to lend out.
Yes.
Then they go and get loans based off of them having $50,000, but it's made up.
Exactly. That they charging interest on.
That they charging my God.
Imagine if I could make up money and then charge interest on
But
it.
you do.
Yeah.
Because of what you just showed. That's my point. That's how it correlates with one another. So just like the banking, that's why we titled the podcast, the subject is Be Your Own Bank.
Yes.
We ain't talking about BYOB, bring your own bottle. No. We talking about be your own bank.
Yeah.
Because that's what you just did. So you just told me that you put $1,500 in, you 10x it inside of 6 months. So that turned it to $15,000. You didn't use the $15,000. You just dangled a carrot in front of the institution and said, "Give me 10 on the 15 that I have, but don't touch my 15."
Right.
Then you use that to buy more coins that has utility, that grew in value, borrowed against that, and then bought another asset that you can borrow against. That's what the banks do.
Yeah, that's it.
Case closed. Can I drop this mic?
You can. It's dropped. You might as well pick it up.
Yeah, listen.
You might as well pick it up.
So, all right. Segueing into my formula. Okay, so we got the crypto formula. Again, we talking about. For those who follow me on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. One of the episodes that I just dropped is called. First of all, it's Free Game Friday, but one of the Free Game Friday videos I just dropped is called Super Cycle. And so since we're in a super cycle, what that means is more than one thing is going off the chain. Okay, it's jumping, it's juking. So we have crypto, and you just saw how you can make. Now I'm not gonna lie, what I'm about to tell you, I ain't gonna do the same numbers that crypto gonna do. Crypto by far is the best right now. But my formula is I help people get business funding. And a lot of people, when they think about business funding, they think that they should have a business already and they should already identify what their business will do or how their
Right.
business will operate. And so I teach people that that's not really the case.
Right.
It's so crazy because when you need money, you can't get it.
Right.
But when you don't need it, you get a lot of it.
Absolutely.
And so at
But
the end of
that's
the
called
day,
abundance.
yes,
See,
it is. Come on.
that's abundance. See, when you in lack, you think in lack and you act in lack.
Mm-hmm.
But when you in abundance, you walk in that differently. I just got to drop that right there because
Yeah,
a lot
that
of
was a
times
good
we
gem.
stay in lack because we thinking in lack and we acting in lack.
Come on.
And that's why we don't go get business funding.
Absolutely. I love it. So getting business funding, no matter if you have an operational business or not, getting that corporation started is what I do. Getting that corporation in alignment to be attractive to the banks that are raping us. But playing the game how it goes this time.
Right.
I got my brother funding, and he was like, man, I'm learning so much about money now. Because he's doing the same thing the banks have done to us, he's doing to them.
Right.
And they welcome that because once you play like them, then they're your friends.
Exactly. Because
When I
they
walk in the
understand
bank,
you understand money.
there you go. And that wasn't always the case.
Right. Money begets money.
There you go. So getting business funding, let's say, and I use this formula. $5,000 can get you $25,000.
Okay.
So that's how much our package is to educate you on financial literacy and to fix your credit to get a 700 credit score.
Okay.
And to get your business paydex score up and get an alignment. And then we go and we get 25,000. We guarantee you get $25,000. Now you can get way more, but we only guarantee up to a certain amount.
Right.
So you flip 5 into 25, and we could do that in
Okay.
like 3 months.
Okay. So you start there.
You start there. You
That's
start
a good
by
starting
investing
point,
5,
though.
right?
That's a good jump off.
Yeah, I mean, you got the education, you've got somebody working for you, and I even have a payment plan. People can pay in 4s. They can direct their 401k over, however they do it. But flipping 5 to 25.
I got to pause your wisdom right there because
Okay.
I think you dropping gems right now and don't even realize everything
Okay,
that you're
okay,
dropping.
let's go.
What you dropping is called a hack. And so a lot of times people can't get to 25,000, don't even know how to get to 25,000 besides a personal line of credit or a credit card or something like that, right? Consumer debt.
Yeah.
That's showing up every day on their credit, lowering their credit score and all of that. What you're saying is I can take what you have and I because of what I know. Okay? See what that's what people don't miss because of what I know.
Yeah.
I can take where you are and I can show you how to hack the system to get you immediately to 25,000 to then start your wealth creation journey
Come on.
from money that wasn't even yours.
Come on.
Okay, I just had to make sure that
Yeah.
you was catching that gem.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Sometimes, and most times I don't.
Okay.
You have to remind me.
Because
by rewinding me.
Yes.
Yes.
I had to. I
Yeah.
had to back it up. I
Yeah.
had to slow it. I had to screw it for you. I had to chop and
She
screw
chopped
it
and
for
screwed
you.
it.
I had to
Already.
slow it down for you so you can
You feel me?
understand exactly what, and the people can understand exactly what you're saying. But in that too, I got a semicolon and I got to add
Okay,
something
let's
to
go.
it. Because what you said is you could show. See, what most people do is go on only on the information they know.
Yes. I just prayed that prayer this morning. I said, Lord, can't nobody outwork me. Like when I show up and I'm ready to do something, man, I show out.
Yes.
Look at how I built up Free Game Fridays. You know, and I got to give you your flowers on record. Like I told you this on the phone, but I got to tell you this now. And I know how you get when I start telling you about yourself, but whatever. Brace yourself because you deserve it. So Free Game Fridays, I built that thing. I'm in the bar. I was telling one of my friends this a few minutes ago. I'm at a bar a couple weekends ago. 3 people then passed me up. Free Game Fridays. What's up, baby?
Right.
Free Game Fridays.
I love it.
Next day, I'm on the phone with somebody. Hey, I'll be looking forward to the Free Game Fridays. So then I talked to you. But Free Game Fridays came from you. You were telling me, you was like, listen, you got to give some gems out. You got to give people, you got to let people know what you know. And a lot of people know what you know, but they ain't going to have no reason to attach to you unless you going to change their life some kind of way.
Right.
They got to know you can change their life. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it on Fridays, and I'm going to call it Free Game Fridays because I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm going to give them so much game
Right.
to where there's no catch to it.
You can't outgive God.
Come on.
You know
Come
what I'm
on, you
saying?
give me another gem. Preach.
You can't outgive God, and I learned that because a lot of times, especially in our community, and we talking to our people, right? All
Right.
right. So let me talk real to our people for just a moment.
Let's go.
A lot of times we haven't been taught to invest in ourselves, and we lack the value of experience and education. We think that when somebody tells us, like you say, I charge $5,000 to put everything together, right? But that $5,000 can change the trajectory of not only their life, but their children's life and their children's children from
Yes.
just that. But oftentimes we think that, like, man, I ain't paying him no $5,000. Like, they giving it to you,
Yeah.
not realizing they giving it to themselves.
Yeah. And that's what the free game Friday was about. I said invest 5K to get 25 guaranteed.
Right.
You investing. There's some things that we have to do. We have to get your company in alignment. We've got to file the right documents. We've got
Right.
to do your articles of incorporation.
Right.
We've got to get you an office address. We've got to get you a website, web
Right.
hosting. We've got to get you a professional email. You can't be talking about you a company and it's abccompany at
Right, at
gmail.com.
right.
You know,
That
so
part.
we've got, right. So we got to do all of that. We can't just get a domain for 1 year. We got to get it for 5 years so that you can be respected amongst the banks. The banks
Correct.
can tell how long you've registered your domain name.
Right.
Then we've got to get, it goes all, we got to get your personal credit together. Then we educate you. So it really is, like you said, an investment. And if you invest that, I remember, and I even had Free Game Friday was called Invest Your Refund. People loved it. They shared it all over the social media platforms. And it's crazy because I'm from the hood. And anybody who know me personally know I'm from, I'm from the hood. And so, man, when I was coming up, people used to invest their money into either a cash car. That really wasn't an investment though.
Right.
And if you really was an investor, then you're gonna go buy you some work. Put it that way. You're gonna go buy you some work. You're gonna go flip that. And you're gonna make you some money off of that, and then you're gonna think that you're gonna live happily ever after. But what happens is you get too big and you get caught by the police, and then now that's supposed to be going towards bond money, or it does or it don't, because you already spent it, because you on the block, you want to be on the block with some fresh ones, some fresh J's or something. You might get some veneers or something with your little, yeah. And so before you know it, you done took an income tax check, and you had the right idea. See, that's the thing. My people have the right idea, but not the right information.
My people perish because of lack of knowledge.
Yes. And that was going back to my prayer this morning. I was like, man, I can outwork, anybody. Lord, just give me the right information. Because sometimes we could be exerting so much energy, but in the wrong area.
Man, I'm going to take it back to you to 2007. And so, I was a full-time real estate investor, right? And so because of the people that I was around and the people that was giving me the information, it was like when the market was crashing, it was time to get out. Well, that was when the hedge funds got in.
Yes.
And I literally jumped out, shut down real estate, didn't do anything else because I had the wrong information.
I remember when you told me that. When we met, so we didn't know each other in 2007. When we met, and you said, yeah, I used to be an investor, but when the crash happened, I got out. And I started channeling my energy on something else. When you said that, it automatically, in my brain, I was like, she was misguided. Yeah.
The same thing.
And it's no pun intended, it's no disrespect. But I can tell by what you say. Because I've been in the game since 2003. And I stayed in continuously. So when that time came, I was buying foreclosures. And that's when I started wholesaling real estate.
Right.
I got a course on wholesaling. People just now learning about wholesaling.
That's how I got into the game of wholesaling. I was wholesaling brand new houses.
Yeah.
And that was a time for me to stay in.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. And so the same thing happens when people tell me when Bitcoin starts going down and after it hit its all-time high and then it crashes or goes down, they like, man, that Bitcoin, that ain't worth nothing now. And I'm telling them the same thing I'm like, that's a foreclosure to me. Somebody's selling right now. I'm buying Bitcoin. Bitcoin. I'm
Wow.
buying crypto
Hold
when it's
on.
down.
Viral moment. She just said because we in the bull run, Bitcoin and all cryptocurrencies is like foreclosures. If you wanted to invest in foreclosures, you're supposed to be investing in cryptocurrency right now. Wow.
Yes.
And then let's double this and let's hit them with that quote about the fear that you dropped on that other episode.
Oh, when they greedy, that's when you fearful. And Warren Buffett says this, and this is not Michelle. I believe in documentation be conversation all day long. So when Warren Buffett says when they are greedy, you be fearful, and when they are fearful, you be greedy. And so in cryptocurrency and in the markets, we have a term is that dumb money haven't come into the markets yet. They call it dumb money. They literally call it dumb money.
That's crazy. So and this is just my assumption. I never heard that before. So dumb money being the people who are jumping on it when everybody else, when the big guys are being greedy. Like right now, dumb money is being dumped into the market.
Right now, dumb money haven't all the way came into the market yet.
Which is why it's going to be at 100. I'm going to make a prediction that's unofficial. It's going to be at 100,000 before June 1st.
I wouldn't doubt it. Robert Kiyosaki said that.
He did?
Yes, Robert Kiyosaki said that Bitcoin.
Now, y'all going to respect my mind. I'm on the same wavelength as Robert Kiyosaki.
Dumb money would say when it was 20,000 that it wasn't worth their money. But when it's 100,000, all of a sudden I need me some Bitcoin.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
And you know what? And the same thing is parallel with corporate funding.
Yes.
I have a really good friend of mine, and I was talking to him, and he was like, I don't really know what I want to do with the money, so I guess the corporate funding. He called me off of a Free Game Friday. Got in my DM, say, bro, definitely want to talk to you, brother, about investing my money. What you said is definitely on point, and I've been sitting on the fence, and of course I trust you, and what you're saying makes sense, so let's go. So get on the phone. I said, all right, well, let's book a call. So we booked a call for 40 minutes, and we talked. And it kind of disappointed me a little bit because he was like, all right, well, let me think of some things to get with the money, then I'm going to get back with you in like a week or two, and I'm going to buy the package. And I'm like, you shouldn't wait until you need the money to invest the money. And so it's the same thing as people waiting to jump into Bitcoin when it's up, which is why you call it dumb money.
Right.
Now, go ahead and be dumb if you wasn't smart at first. It's okay.
Right.
Put your money in now, but you know you could have done better. I tell my son this all the time. There's always a better and best scenario.
Correct.
There's something he's gonna always do the good thing because he's a good kid.
Yes.
But can you be better than good?
Right.
There's always, and I wanna prove to you that you can be better than good. So I'm gonna stretch you.
Right.
I remember when he was playing for this football team, they were ranked like number 1100 and something in the state. And then he went to go play for I transferred him to a school. He went to go play for the number 1 team in the state. And I said, well, he was kind of second guessing. Like first he said he wanted to do it, then he's right before we get ready to sign. He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, son, there's always going to be a better, best scenario. This is the best in Texas, the best in the nation.
Right.
They 1,100 pips above.
Right.
The school you just got done currently playing for. You scoring 3 or 4 touchdowns in a half.
Right.
Over there, if you score 1 touchdown, it's like scoring 4 over here. Are you up for the challenge?
Right.
And he was like, man, you put it that way, I'm up for the challenge. I said, yeah, you can always fall back.
Right.
To the 1,100 ranked team. What they gonna tell you? They don't want you back?
Right.
So at the end of the day, I'm not saying don't put your money in right now.
Right.
But there was always a better scenario to put it in when the market was greedy.
Correct.
So say that quote one more time, because say that quote by Warren Buffett.
So Warren Buffett says that when they are fearful, that's when you be greedy, and when they are greedy, that's when you be fearful. So I'm gonna make it even plainer. So a lot of times people don't get out of the market with profit because they're waiting for it to hit that top moment, right? But there's a time where in the market, like when in the real estate market as well, that the market is going high, and there's a time when you like, nope, I'm not buying right now. I'm putting all my money, and I'm sitting to the side, and I'm gonna let the market. I'm gonna see what this market does. And so, when retail money, dumb money, retail investors They buying retail. We buying wholesale. They buying retail.
There you go.
So we sell to the retail. We buy wholesale and we sell to the retail. So as an investor, you buy crypto low, and then as it goes high, now you're selling, because in this scenario, it's always a buyer and a seller. In order for you to make money off profit off crypto, you got to sell it to somebody.
Right.
No different than a property.
Yeah.
You got to sell it to somebody.
Yeah. Because
right?
they, like they say, they're not making no more land. So in your world, they're not making no more Bitcoin.
Right.
So the only way that you can stimulate the economy in Bitcoin, or stimulate the blockchain, as you say, is to resell what you already got for lower. But everybody's making money, because if everybody adopt that formula, then everybody's making money, just at different paces.
Correct.
And so and the same thing in real estate.
Correct.
If I bought a house in the neighborhood before the public transportation came, and before they put a mall or a tollway up,
exactly,
and I was able to get that piece of property for $100,000, and I was able to sell it for $230.
right?
Let's just say $250. Then it's the same that when somebody come and bought it for $250 from me, and then they wait until it's worth $450 to sell it.
Right. Would you rather have bought it at that 100 that you
I
bought
would
it
have
at?
rather, but I'm not mad, because I'm still making the same amount of profit.
Correct.
So the biggest thing, and like I always say on this podcast, knowing is half of the battle, but that's only half of the battle.
Right.
You actually have to apply it.
Correct.
So now that you know that you could have gotten Bitcoin for a fraction of a penny, and now it's worth $73,000 today.
But check this out. Let me just pause that wisdom right there. Most people wouldn't have bought it anyway. I tell my students all the time, like, you say, I wish I would have bought Amazon stock when it was down, and say, you wouldn't believe have bought it in it.
You ain't that type of person.
That's my...
You have to be a visionary. You have to be half-ass crazy.
Yes.
And delusional. You got to understand money.
Yes.
And you have to be, you can't be scared of losing money in order to invest. And I don't know too many people who have all four of those attributes.
That's a hard one, because I remember I got into Bitcoin in 2017, and I started buying Bitcoin at $1,800, and I was telling people, you know, you need to buy some. My mother, she bought it $2,200. She didn't even know. She just went on my word. She didn't even call it Bitcoin. She called it Big Coin. What's that? She would call me, what's that Bitcoin doing now? You know what I'm saying? She knows it's Bitcoin now.
Yeah, I'm sure it got paid.
Michelle, it went up to 70,000. I can't wait. You know, so she's all excited about it. But most people wouldn't move. And so back in the day when I was telling people to buy Bitcoin, and especially when it went up to 20,000 and it dropped, they was like, see, I told you about that Bitcoin. And so now I'm like, Nipsey, though, y'all thought I had it wrong. Now y'all know I had it right.
I know the way.
You know what I'm saying? Now y'all know I had it right, because I seen something.
Yeah.
And it goes back to when you talk about like the education as well, and the big thing with that is that nobody around me, I was like, wait a minute, why did this just happen?
Yeah.
And nobody around me could tell. That's what made me go back to school. Because I said, I might not have a bunch of that old money, but I'd be damned if I missed this new money.
Come on. And speaking of that, since we are in a super cycle, we are in one of the greatest wealth transfers
ever
of this
in
day.
History.
Yes. And so, and what that means, because I hear people say wealth transfer all day, and we know what it means, but for those who don't understand what that means, the wealth transfer means that it's a lot of new money that can come into the market. A lot of new money could come to us.
Correct.
Especially us. I'll use an example to drive the point home. Some countries, there's never a wealth transfer in some countries.
Yes.
Meaning that if you're outside of America and some of the other dominant countries, I won't, name any, but they have certain families that keep all the money. And the only way that a newborn person could come up and have money or be raised in money is if that person's of that lineage of
you born into
that family. But in America, it's just opportunities that bring you money.
Right.
Whereas you can have all the opportunities in the world in other parts of the other countries in the world. But even though that opportunity is there, your last name is not associated with the main last name, or it's not that same last name. You're not, in other words, you're not in that family. So that opportunity is null and void. For instance, just breaking it down even more so. You may be in another country and you may have worked your ass off at a coffee bean plant.
Right.
And you may have discovered a robust formula to have the best coffee that country has ever seen. But if that coffee was distributed and made by that family you work for, you could never leave that company and make your own coffee company. Whereas in America, you could. Okay, you can't because you are a worker. Same thing happened in slavery though. Black people invented so many things, but because we didn't have the capital, because we wasn't looked upon as being an equal citizen as the white man, then because we keep it real on this podcast,
Right.
then they come and they say, "Well, shoot, man, somebody else invented that."
Man, you just dropped a lot there, and I wanna speak to a lot of what you just dropped. One is you talked about other countries, right? But let me just tell you the power of when you understand what's happening and an asset. Let's take El Salvador.
Okay.
El Salvador is a country that basically their monetary system was gone. Okay, basically a lot of poverty was going on there, and their dollars was worth like nothing.
Yeah, we don't even trade on the market.
On the market.
Yeah, they're not even tradable.
Right. That's how bad it is. Well, they adopted Bitcoin as their form of currency. And so people got paid in Bitcoin. Their citizens got paid in Bitcoin. Their citizens, when they bought gas and they transacted commerce, they in Bitcoin. So imagine if you've been getting paid in Bitcoin. So I have people pay me when people when I do a work for somebody, and it's pay me in Bitcoin. Because somebody paid me in Bitcoin a couple weeks ago. You talked about, we know that when you and I were talking, Bitcoin was 52,000 then. It's 51,000.
Yeah,
it's
51.
70-some thousand today.
73.
They paid me in Bitcoin.
And so they automatically gave you interest.
Come
on top of what you because the alternative would have been for you to accept the money. So let's say you do a speaking engagement.
Right.
You get the money in US dollars.
Right.
They sell it to you, whatever. And then you have to decide how much, if not 100% of that, you're going to put into.
Exactly.
But you're going to lose because you're converting it and all that.
Because you're converting it, transfer fees. Now they just send it to me in Bitcoin.
So let's say that they sent you $5,000 for showing up and teach. But then that same $5,000 3 weeks ago, it's not like you was living paycheck to paycheck anyway.
Right.
So you wasn't going to touch that $5,000 till probably a year from now anyways. So now, because it's sitting in the market, it's worth $16,000 and counting.
You see what I'm saying?
What the gems at? Can we have some gems fall on the screen like?
Look, I gotta give us. For ourselves. But so that just goes to show you when it comes to, like, I'm just showing what El Salvador did as a country, and they did it because there was no way to bring their dollar back. So they said, well, you know what? We're going to convert the whole system into Bitcoin. And now our citizens have a chance to bring themselves up just because this asset
is coming up automatically. Wow, hold on. So that's a gem too. That's a hack. Because here it is. You have a country that is piss poor, third world.
Yep.
And they're uneducated. They're unresourceful. They don't have meaning they don't have the same resources that we have. But yet their money could grow as if they're just as smart as us.
Yes.
Automatically because of how Bitcoin.
And our dollar is going down in value.
Which we need to be adopting the same thing they're
adopting. We need to be adopting.
But they're more humble because they don't have anything.
What's his name? Odoms. Not Lamar Odoms. What it was a football player, a couple football players. They took their salaries.
Yeah.
In
I don't know who you're talking about, but I remember the article, but I don't remember the name.
So they took their salaries in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So when you talk about be your own bank,
come on.
Instead of putting their money in the bank, where the bank could now lend the 10 times on that and not pay them but pennies on their money, they said, no, give me my money in Bitcoin, pay me in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin goes up in value, so you got $100 million contract.
Come on.
Bitcoin went from 20,000 to 70,000, and you had $100 million contract.
So so we're gonna break that down. Whatever the percentage is from 20,000 to 70,000, you use that same percentage with what we saying, 100 million?
Right, 100 million. So just say 40 million would double their money.
Right.
Okay. 80 million would triple it.
Yeah.
So they at 70. So they somewhere around, would just say 2.5x. they money.
Okay. So that relation was 2.5. Let's just call it 2x.
Right.
So they doubled their money.
Right.
Okay. No, that's more. That's like 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just say so they 3x. So they 3x. That's almost 4x. So they just say they 3x their money.
Right.
So then we take that same 100 million that they got paid in Bitcoin. We 3x that. So it turned to 300 million without them having to go to Nike and get endorsement deals. Without them having to be blacklisted by Adidas if they
can say what they want to because Bitcoin is neutral.
Without them kneeling.
Yeah.
They want to kneel doing the flag.
Right.
Doing the Star Spangled Banner.
Right.
Then there's no. It's okay. I get fined because my Bitcoin automatically goes up. I don't have to do nothing for it.
Right.
I love it. So listen, we're gonna segue into another piece. You mentioned that Fidelity is one of the greatest entities out here that people have their 401ks parked with. Okay. So what I'm saying, guys, is that Fidelity is just like a bank. So you've got your money at Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, wherever. Fidelity is the same way. Fidelity is a bank for 401k. So whenever you go to an employer and you sign up to get a 401k and you're putting in money, they're matching it, it's going to a bank account.
Right.
Well, Fidelity is a bank just for that.
Correct.
But then you're telling me that every dollar that comes from a person's check, so let's say every pay period they pay in, $115. Fidelity is now trading that $115 a month or whatever the total in their account. Let's say it's 40 grand in their account.
Right.
It's accumulated. They are investing into crypto. Why is that an issue for regular people?
It's an issue for regular people because regular people aren't taking their own money investing into Bitcoin.
But you're going to let Fidelity do it for you.
But they still on the fences about whether it's real or not.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Whether it's good enough.
Can we bring up the Fidelity report? We're going to have to bring the Fidelity report on the screen.
We're going to bring that up.
Yeah. And so you can see how much money, maybe how much money they spend annually or something.
They spent $2.8 billion in the last week.
Hold on. 1 week?
Yeah, buying Bitcoin.
So let's say, wow, 2.8 billion?
Billion.
Okay, so let's make that live. Fidelity has taken $2.8 billion of y'all money,
right?
Probably about 20,000 of y'all, and have invested it. And then instead of giving those dividends back to the people that they use the money on, they give them back a small
percentage,
a piece of a piece of a piece of a piece of a piece.
Right. So if you got $100,000 in Bitcoin, let's just say, Fidelity's Bitcoin ETF was approved in January.
Hold on, so that's a whole nother, so an ETF. So basically, Fidelity created their own ETF based off of using other people's money.
Yeah.
And then other people are going to buy their ETF and spend their own money that they not even investing on their own.
That part.
And, oh my God. But anyway, okay, let's keep it light.
But just keep it light.
That's too complicated. Keep it light.
I'm going just to the price of Bitcoin when it was approved. So you could have bought Bitcoin back in January at $40-something thousand. So
January of this
2024.
Year. Wow. And we are in March.
And it's 70-something thousand. Okay. So if you got $100,000, and I'm just using this because some people have $100,000 sitting in a 401k.
The average person has been working for 10, 15 years.
Got that.
Yeah.
Right. Sitting in
they may only have like $4,000 in their bank account.
Right.
But they're going to give Fidelity $100,000.
Right. But they got it. Right. That's a whole nother. You need to do a Friday Free Game Friday on that. So now you bought that. You would have bought 2 Bitcoin, 2.5. Just say 2 to be 80,000 and at 40,000.
Yeah.
Still at 40,000.
Yeah. In January.
Well, right now you'd be up $60-something thousand.
On top of the 40, so you'd be 100. You'd be 100,000.
No, what I'm saying is, if you would have bought 2 for 80,
okay,
right? You took 2 for 80.
2 coins.
Each one made you another $30,000. So you took 80,000, and so you done made 60,000 on top of that 80. If you got $100,000 sitting in Fidelity right now, you didn't gain that. You didn't earn that.
You might have made $4,000 in a year.
Exactly.
And they done made $4,000 in a week. I mean, a day. Not even a whole day. 5-10 minutes. Because they buying 2.8 billion.
Right.
That's crazy. So that's a whole nother. Wow. Now, let's go with the formula. So we're going to give y'all, we always like to leave you guys with a point, and you got to listen all the way to the end to get some of the points. We're going to drop some jewels. That's how we do. We're going to keep it real. We're going to have only high-level influential people sit on this couch with me. We're going to drop gems throughout, but then we're going to give you a course of action at the very end, just so you know. So when you're sharing this, you let people know this is the formula in which we operate. Okay.
Let me just,
Let's
I
go.
just, I got to, if they could pull that back up on the screen, that book that say Stand Apart. Because when you were saying about
Okay.
you mentioned about you
This
mentioned
one right here?
this one right here. You know, I know you don't look. He don't like to toot his own horn, but beep beep. I'm a toot it for him. Beep beep around here. But I'm just looking at this title, Stand Apart. See, the gems that we dropping and the information that we giving, it's gonna make you stand apart.
Man, come on.
Because the average person is going to do average things. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to leave you with something. Let them do whatever. And you go do whatever it takes to stand apart.
Let's go. I love that. I love that.
Okay.
Let's go, my girl. All right, so we're gonna get right into it. After that, that was a great introduction to this portion of the podcast. So we're gonna give you our success formula. We're gonna give you this life hack. All right. So first thing you need to do, get a corporation. Why get a corporation? Because you want to have something that's a legacy builder. Guys, we have to learn to create generational wealth. And generational wealth does not mean daddy and mama is okay and the kids got to figure it out after they die. No, mama and daddy is okay, and we're going to leave the kids better off than when we were living. And we're going to teach them to do the same thing. And before you know it, our whole lineage changes. And so this life hack starts today. So we have a package for $4,997. So $5,000 guarantees you $25,000. You will walk away with a corporation. You'll walk away with great credit, and you'll walk away with at least $25,000. Parlay that $25,000, a portion of it, into keep some for operating capital for whatever it is you could put in your savings account. A lot of people think they gotta have a corporation in order to use business funding. But you are a corporation. I love Jay-Z. He has a quote. He says, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. And so at the end of the day, that's what you are. And so you can write off all the things that you do as a human, as a person, because you are your business. So it's good to just put 20, 15, 20 grand. If you got 50 grand, 15, 20 grand to the side, just in case you need to live. But of that 25, I'm going to take 10 out. And I'm going to parlay it over with Michelle, and then you give your formula. Remember, we're trying to keep this in 2 minutes so you guys know, okay, we're going to start over. We got business funding, $5,000. You get educated on business funding. You get in a position to get 25 grand, and the 25 grand is guaranteed. All right. Then you go and you take that money, and this is how you redistribute that wealth. All right. So 10 grand of that 25 grand. Go ahead, Michelle.
So you take that 10 grand and you get you a portfolio of say, three to five top hitters. That's going to be your hitters that you're going to put to work for you. You're going to employ them and you're going to put them to work for you. And they going to go out and they going to work, and they going to work 10 times harder than you could.
And she's talking about cryptocurrency,
I'm talking
guys,
about
not
cryptocurrency,
people.
not people. Right.
Can we talk about corporations? I don't want them to think they talking about employees. She's using that vernacular, but it's crypto.
But it's crypto. So you're going to get you five crypto coins, tokens that you're going to invest in. And you're going to invest in them, and you're going to base it on the fact that these have the opportunity to give you a 10x on your money. Right. And so once you take that money and you give them, they 10x your money for you. Now you take that and you parlay it into whether it be Bitcoin, something, one of the major granddaddy or Ethereum or something like that, and then you go borrow against that, and then you go rinse and repeat.
So let's back up a little bit. So 10 grand out of the 25 that you got because of business funding, you 10x that in 6 months.
Right.
To make it how much?
So now you done made 100,000.
Then I had to break you down because you
Right.
said that already, but you didn't break it down in this hour. So you take the 10 grand out of the 25, you 10x it within 6 months. That's $100,000.
Right.
Then you borrow against the $100,000. So you didn't even take the money out the market. So that
Right.
$100,000 is still growing.
Right.
But now you've made a second extension.
Right.
So now you've got 3 funding sources. You've got You've got corporate funding that you can
Yes.
always ask for increases on your limits
Right.
and make more money.
Because you can take the 100 grand that you made and put the 10 grand back on that
Ooh.
125.
Pay it off.
Pay it off.
Ask for 50 now that you've
Exactly.
managed 25 well.
Right.
Okay. Then So then now you've got 90 left over there that you borrowed against, but you never touched your 100.
Right.
So that 100 probably be at like 180 or something like that in 2 or 3 months. And then bam. So now you're rich.
And you just build from there.
And you keep on going. Now, this is a bonus, guys. How about you do that with 5 corporations?
Right.
How about you get 5 corporations? Donald Trump does it.
Exactly.
And then get business funding on all 5 of them. Diversify your portfolio that much more. Oh man. And all of this can be done within 9 to 12 months total.
Yes.
But nobody's mad. I've never seen anybody become a millionaire and was mad along the way.
No.
Like, it may have taken them 4 years to become a millionaire, but they weren't mad when they got their first $100,000 in the bank. They wasn't mad when they could take a trip and they don't care about when they can come back home. My daughter be getting mad at me because she be like, when you come home? I don't know.
Right.
Like,
When I want to.
yeah,
Right.
when I feel like it. I mean,
Yeah.
you got any dance recitals or something like that? What you got going on that I need to be back? If she says yes, then I come back and I go right back out of town.
Check this out. Fidelity just told us that one Bitcoin is going to be worth $1 million by 2030.
Come on.
So if you took 10 grand right now, turned it into $100,000, and then turned around and just bought you one Bitcoin and borrowed against it. Now you just let that sit to 2030. It then paid the loan back off that you took off of it anyway.
Come on.
And all you got to do is sit back, because here's the truth of the matter. The average person don't have a game plan to make $1 million in the next 6 years. They got some hopeful thinking. They got some wishful thinking. But they don't have they don't actually have the game plan. They don't have a strategy. They don't. If you ask the average person, if I gave you $100,000 right now, what would you do? They'd be like, pay
off my car.
Buy me a house,
go on
take
vacation.
my mama on a trip, take my girl or my guy or my husband, my wife, whatever it is that whatever you at. But they don't really have a real solid plan to actually make $1 million. So right now, if you can buy a Bitcoin and just sit on it and do nothing, forget if the market go up or if it go down, that don't matter to you. What matters to you is getting to the $1 million.
Come on, get into the bag. And that's what we talk about. That's what every Free Game Friday is centered towards, whether it's a short form video or a long form video. Is centered towards getting to the bag.
That's it.
We just did that.
They just got a game plan. Fidelity. That you believe in, even if you don't have a 401k. Most people know who Fidelity is, even if they don't have a 401k with them.
Yeah.
You trust them as the institution to hold the 401k. They're one of the largest 401k providers in the country.
Come on.
So if they're saying $1 million by 2030 and they didn't put together a Bitcoin ETF to do so, to make sure that they getting in on the party and that they not missing the party. And so if you by any means necessary, you should be trying to get you at least one Bitcoin, because if you ain't got a game plan to make $1 million in the next 6 years, let that be your game plan. Follow the money. Follow what they doing.
So that was $1 million. That was $1 million plan. Right there.
Right there.
So we just dropped a whole bunch of gems. Guys, we can go on and on, but listen, we have, so that's going to be the end of that, Lord, and then we're going to go into the CTA. All right. So CTA.
We dropped a lot right
Man,
there.
we dropped a lot.
That's going to have to be chopped and screwed.
Yeah. I was thinking like how we going to try to drop this down. All right, guys. So as always, we want you to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification button if you want to continue to be informed on Free Game Fridays, where we always dropping $1 million gems for free. All right. The next thing is coming back. So we definitely do not like to leave our audience without any application. Every time we have a podcast, I'm straight up with you. I'm gonna tell you what it is. We're gonna drop some gems for free. Okay, some things that could change your life, whether you want to go further with us or not. Then we're also going to give you some success formulas. We call them life hacks. We call them formulas. We're going to call them a couple different things, but that's going to happen towards the end of all of our videos. And then at the very least, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to always try to sell you something that is going to enrich you, because you need to learn to invest. I was just having a conversation with someone yesterday, and I was like, man, I invested $1,500 I invested my refund, $1,500 of my refund check into getting my real estate license 21 years ago. And you know how many millions that then bought in? You know how many people that didn't change their lives? And so at the end of the day, I'm gonna always give you a chance to embark upon your future doing investing. And so Michelle and I, we definitely have a solution for you. We would like to help you get to the bag. Your bag, at least your goal should be at least $1 million, and so that's what we want to aim it towards. And so if you get business funding from us, then that's the first step. And then the second step is to parlay it into the right investment vehicles, the right cryptocurrency during this bull run. You got to understand there's always a better and best scenario for you. The best scenario is I know that we are going through a bull run, and I know that it's going to be good for the next 18 months. I know that my plan is to make $1 million in 6 years, but what can I make in this 18 months that stimulates it? And we're in a super cycle. So let's say of the $1 million that you're trying to make in 6 years, you can probably accumulate 40 to 60% of that during this bull run. And then the rest will be slow boogie. Nobody's mad at that. Okay. And so that is the success formula that we have put together. And so you can go to our website, which is freegamefridays.tv, and you can hit the button to learn for more information once you go to the website. Again, freegamefridays.tv. We have the resource that Dr. Lilly and I have put together to help the ordinary person flip $5,000 into $1 million in 6 years or less. That's powerful.
Man, that's so powerful. See, we want you to stand apart.
There it is.
You
I love
know,
it.
we want you to stand apart. And I'm going to just give you some facts. 1%, in order to be a 1%er, you got to make $876,000 a year.
I saw that report.
Yes.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
To be a 1%er. So that means that 99% of people fall below that.
Right.
So we want you to stand apart with the 1%. And we want to show you how to take your money, put it to work, let it then go to work more for you, and take your plan to that $1 million so you can actually stand apart and be one of the 1%. That's the game that we're dropping right now.
Absolutely. And there's no other time in history that you could have done it with only $5,000.
What a time.
Because that's
alive.
a strategy. Yeah. I mean, and some people look at this video and be like, man, hell no. Nah. You can't, it's no way you could flip $5,000 into $1 million. Yeah, but your grandparents couldn't. But you could.
Right.
Because the way that you should be thinking now, again, flipping 5 into 25, flipping 10 of that 25 into 100, flipping that 100 into a couple 100,000,
yes.
Flipping that couple 100,000 into $1 million. That's the process. But a lot of people will fall short at just flipping the 5 to 100.
Oh, we abort the
and that's
process.
why, right. But that's why we have come together and we said we'll coach you, because it's not enough of our people that has the wealth.
No.
And it's partly our fault, but it's not totally our fault. We've been programmed to look for the short games.
Yes.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, like a white man to sit back and play the long game all day because he could afford to.
Correct.
Well, we gotta eat. We can't see how we gonna eat past Friday.
Right.
You know, and they know how they gonna eat for the next 6 years.
Correct.
And so their game is different. And so if we're gonna play the same game that they play, and then we have to learn to invest. And this is the best way by far that I've learned to invest a minimal amount. And then we even have a payment plan for our products.
Oh, you can't beat that.
I mean, come on. I mean, they had people popping bottles during the pandemic and pouring them out on people.
Yeah.
Like $300 bottles. That was $40 in at the
some
liquor
people
store.
who watching this right now, they getting ready for they already got a section for this weekend.
It is Friday.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they probably on the way to the club right there, probably getting their car detailed.
Yeah,
right now.
And
got the Rolls Royce getting detailed.
Right, and for the women, you know, they getting their hair done, their nails done, they getting all this, they getting their new bag, so they spending a couple $1,000s only for it to be empty.
Right. And to have some liver problems later on down the life by drinking some Hennessy.
And some nice pics on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever just for likes. And I'm saying, you know, you can get some real likes when you get to the bag.
Come on, let's go. And stand apart.
Let's go.
Free game.